Hi everyone, welcome back to our Hollywood. I'm Daniel.
I'm Kim.
Wait, why am I so far?
And here's Charlie. If you're watching.
If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Kim's little dog is here. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm a little sweaty. I want to take a shower. I'm probably gonna shower immediately after you leave.
Opening this door was one of the best decisions I think we've made ever in our lives.
Yeah, very true.
Because I don't know why, because we just recorded the episode and we had this door closed and I was sweating.
I was sweating so much.
Also, both of us are wearing pants when it's summer.
I don't really wear shorts ever, so.
I wear shorts if I'm forced against my will. I hate shorts. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about queer themes in horror. Very fun topic, but before we get into that, follow us on TikTok. It's at Our Hollywood on YouTube as well, where we post the video versions of the episodes, and at Our Hollywood on Letterboxd, where you can see like the movies that we're going to talk about and add them to your list. Because there's some good ones that we're going to talk about today that I don't think a lot of people have seen. So if all you film people, go open that Letterboxd and add things to your watch list. Although I don't think I've ever looked at my watch list. I add things to it and then I just have not opened.
I kind of abandoned Letterboxd for a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't really updated it in quite a bit.
It brings me such a rush to add a movie.
I think it's because I'm always out of data, so like I just never do it. Anyways.
You can start with what you watched this week.
Okay, I'm just going to talk about two things because honestly, I've watched way more in the past like week than I have like in the past month. But that's because like kind of my favorite Texas shows are back, which is reality TV. I fucking love reality TV, and also I love girly shows. Like I hate to be like perpetuate the Gossip Girl. It's like yeah. So Love Island came back. And usually I'm a big Love Island like UK stan. It's usually better, but this season...
What's the difference? They're just British?
They're British, and honestly, usually the people in the UK are a lot like more likable, in my opinion. Like the first 2 seasons of Love Island USA, I'm like, this is a travesty. Like some of these people are like a little bit too messy. Anyways, but this season of Love Island, so they're both going on like simultaneously. And I watched like the first couple episodes of Love Island UK, and I'm just like, not really vibing with this one. Okay. And it's a little bit harder for me to watch the UK one because it's not as easily accessible, unless you have like a VPN or something.
Wait, so where's Love Island? Where is it?
Like the US version?
Yeah, like what do you watch it on?
I watch it on Paramount Plus.
Oh, okay. But like on TV, does it air on TV?
It airs on TV. It's on CBS.
Okay.
I'll get into it. It's kind of crazy. Also, okay, so Love Island is my favorite reality TV dating show because there's so many episodes. Okay. It's like they are filming every single day and the turnaround is crazy. Like I can only imagine like they're probably editing as they go because of like it's like okay. So for the US version this year, because it's Paramount Plus and they want more people to like buy Paramount Plus, obviously, they're adding like specific episodes to drop on Paramount Plus. Like they have a Monday Paramount Plus exclusive episode. And also they have like the thing called The Drop, and they'll just like drop like 40 minutes straight of footage uncut of like people's conversations. And I'm like, so every day there's something new.
Okay. From a marketing standpoint, that's so good.
Yeah, they're so smart. And also, another reason I love Love Island and why I'm so glad I actually like the US season this time is because a lot of times you can vote while the shit is happening. So sometimes in the middle of the show, they'll be like, okay, you have 30 minutes to like vote. And like... That
is so stressful.
Yeah, and like you can like choose...
Wait, so it's live? Like on the
it's pretty much though. Like it's like a very quick turnaround time. Like but then like in a couple days, like these people are because you know how usually
they're on the island right now.
They're there like right now. It's kind of crazy. And like if there's new people coming in, you can vote who you want them to go on a date with. And like you can vote people off eventually. Like it's
what is the premise of the show? They have to date each other?
Yeah.
So it's like Bachelor in Paradise kind of.
Yeah, but way better. Because of like the fan interaction with it because if
it adds like a game show element.
It's like kind of like how Big Brother kind of used to be like and like people used to like call in and like text and stuff. It's like bringing that element back, which I really have been missing. And I think it's just so impressive like scale wise because they have mics going for every single person, and like honestly it's really interesting to see them do the drop because sometimes they won't catch audio from people, so they have to like put ambient noises, and like sometimes the conversation cuts out, so it's like really interesting for me because I've always wanted to work on a reality TV dating show because I just think it's an environment that I would thrive in because I live for chaos and like I really thrive under like pressured environments, and also like I'm just really passionate about it, so I've always wanted to work on one. And Love Island is definitely an ideal one that I would want to work on. And I also, my friend told me, I was like, I really like the season. I don't know why. I was talking to my friend, like one of my only friends I watch is the US version. And she was like, did you know CBS like made like basically like an agreement for their unscripted series to cast at least 50% BIPOC. And you can tell.
Wait, and everything or
unscripted? So like all the reality stuff, and it's like very evident. I'm like, is that why I like the season way more?
Wait, F-Boy Island, the one you sent me today, where is that? What's that?
F-Boy Island, I think that's HBO Max.
That's so interesting.
I think that's like such a powerful thing for CBS to do, and especially in contrast to The Bachelor, because that's like their biggest like competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because ABC has a lot of scandals right now because of their race exclusion, to be honest.
The Bachelor and like, drama is so interesting, and I don't even like that show, but like just not that I don't like, it's just not my cup of tea, but like the drama is so interesting to me. Every season. The Love Island drama is so good. It's so good. And I think it's especially interesting because now like people our age are starting to get in there, so it's really interesting to see how Gen Z, it's a lot more positive, to be honest. Like they communicate a lot better. It's like, it's kind of cool. Like I really like it. And I thought I didn't know that CBS did that. So like iconic of them. That is iconic.
I think that's why I like it a lot more.
This episode is kind of a CBS standpoint because Clarice is also on CBS.
Really? I do love CBS. Yeah. Like honestly, I think they're one of the few, like obviously not every show is gonna be perfect, but overall I think even when the article I was reading with the unscripted series, like they're working with the NAACP directly to help combat. So I was like, okay, period. CBS. I'm sending my resume your way. Oh my God. That ass. Like I think like they're especially their unscripted stuff, like they are really good because they have Big Brother and everything.
So iCarly is CBS?
iCarly is CBS as well.
CBS is doing so okay, because I also heard that like for iCarly they just announced that they're gonna show the episodes at Nick at Night now. So that they can get a wider audience. I don't know if it's like the first couple of episodes and then they'll like get Paramount Plus, but their marketing is
Paramount and CBS I feel like are very slept on.
Yeah.
They put out really good things. And honestly, like I remember when I went to like a studio tour for Paramount, I was like, why do we not get Paramount?
Visually, their studio like entrance is the coolest, I think, out of all of them.
Yeah,
it's like so iconic.
It's really pretty. But anyways, I love Island. I love this season of Love Island. It's only been going on for a week. It premiered on the 7th of July. And there's like 7 episodes already out. It's been out for
How long is it?
What do you mean?
Like how long does the time?
6 weeks, but it's like 52 episodes because they're dropping something every day. And then now they have the 7 episodes that have been released on CBS. They have the Monday drop episode. There's one of those. They have 2 episodes where they like don't edit anything. The content is crazy.
That literally sounds insane.
And the app is updated every day, and I'm like literally checking the app constantly to like vote on the polls and stuff. Like I am invested.
Do you vote on Paramount Plus or do you vote on a separate?
It's like an app. It's like a Love Island app.
Kim is, for the listeners, Kim is pulling up the Love Island app.
Home.
Oh my.
There's a vote coming. Register to vote now. Voting is closed. See, I missed out. On the voting.
What?
I don't know. What the vote was.
Does it send notifications?
Usually, but I was
recording.
So like, there's so many things.
Which date do you think is it? That's so fun.
I ranked every single one of these girls. I did it. Like it's.
Oh my God.
I ranked everything. Like I'm very much invested in the show. Like I think it's one of the coolest.
Love Island shop.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one of the bottles because I've been wanting one for so long. It's a water bottle? Yeah. So all of them, it's like a whole thing in the show. Even in the UK version, which is where it originated, they all have like a water bottle that has their name on it. And it's like a specific Love Island font. And this season, usually the straws are clear, but for the US version this year, the straws are gold, and I think that's cool. And I would kill to walk around. Right now. It's so good. It's such a good show. It's so impressive, like filming and scope wise, and I think CBS is killing it right now. And I just wanted to like give a little shout out, and also like maybe this is me kissing ass to like be hired, but I think it's really good. And I think the people this season are so much more interesting than the other seasons, and I genuinely think that's because of the diversity push. Like genuinely. That's so fun. I'll talk more when we have more time about like the especially because like I'll probably have a lot more to say as like the show goes on as well, because I have a lot of opinions on the people, but we'll keep it under wraps.
Okay.
Should I talk about Gossip Girl before we move into the?
Oh, I can talk about Gossip Girl too. I saw the first episode.
You watched it. Well, the second episode came out yesterday. Anyways, all I wanted to say about Gossip Girl is like everyone is hating on it way too much for one episode being out. To be honest,
I didn't. Well, I'm not on that side of like. Wait, on TikTok or like on what?
TikTok.
I only saw like Twitter hate, but I don't think the things that were being hated on were warranted.
It's like, how are you hating that hard on it and have such a strong opinion when it's?
Okay, the main complaints that I was seeing was like number one, they were like, oh, the outfits are great.
I think they're so good.
I was like, that's like all I was paying attention to.
Also, I don't think people understand what old money and new money is.
And also, trends are different. If any one of them showed up in something that one of the OG Gossip Girl people, they would be bullied.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, it's. I think it's like just the thing. Like people have the original of anything on a pedestal.
Okay.
Like even if the new one is just as good, not even better. Like Spider-Man, I guess is a good example. The original Spider-Man's people will like ride or die for that, even though Tom Holland is.
You could say it.
He's the best Spider-Man, guys. Like just like.
Doesn't have to be the best Spider-Man movies. He's just the best Spider-Man.
Exactly. So I just think people hate on things way too quickly. I mean, like, I didn't like necessarily love all the choices that were made in the first episode, but also like I'm not gonna hate on it because I don't know where it's going because it's the first episode.
Okay, if anyone is gonna watch it and they haven't yet. We're going to spoil a couple things right now because I want to talk about it. Okay, so skip ahead like 2 minutes.
First of all, the old money is because a lot of people were like, oh, see, the original Gossip Girl was giving this old money, quote unquote. Yeah. The new Gossip Girl is giving this new money, quote unquote. Guys, old money means your wealth comes from like oil rigs and like that kind of stuff, like industrial revolution type of money. Yeah. New money is like tech startups and stuff like that. That is what it is. It's not like time. It's like, I think Obi probably comes from old money because he's like, Obi's like the social justice warrior boy with the little hoop and he's dating the Julian, which is the bald girl.
Oh, okay.
And he has like the richest one. So I'm assuming he's coming more from old money things, especially because like they were talking about like the shipyard and stuff. I'm like, that's giving me old money vibes. I just don't think people know what the meaning of old money, new money is. Anyways.
Okay, so I never have seen, oh my God, I've never seen a single episode of the OG Gossip Girl in my life. I know like what happened.
One of the best shows ever.
Okay. I know what happened. I know who Gossip Girl was. I know what people liked, what people didn't like. I know like the basic elements of it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna watch it because Kim's probably gonna talk about it on the podcast. So like, I want to be included. So like, it's a conversation, not just one person talking about it. So okay, I'm gonna say what I did like. So I really liked that the teachers are Gossip Girl and that they revealed it in the first episode. What
really, everybody hated that.
I love that.
I liked it too because I think because they said it in the first episode, that sets it up for some shit to like go crazy in like the mid. Because like there's no way that the teachers are not going to get in trouble the whole season. Legally, like, so and also like I feel like somebody's going to come in and like because like it's Instagram, you can hack into it. Like I feel like something's going to go haywire.
And like. I do think like at some point the teachers are gonna cross a line and that
they already have.
I literally saw episode 1. Well, like I mean like a line, like a legal line. They haven't done anything illegal yet, right?
Child
When did that happen?
When they were taking pictures of them changing in front of the window.
I literally didn't see that.
Because they're literally
Is that episode 1?
Yes.
Oh man, guys, I didn't finish episode 1, I guess.
It's like kind of towards the end, so I guess. Yeah, like after they went to the Dumbo Hall and they were caught in the rain, and he was like, "You can stay here until like."
Oh, I did. I think I didn't finish it then. I saw when they went to the Dumbo Hall.
Yeah, it was like after that.
Oh my god.
And the teacher took a picture of it. Teacher.
Spoiler alert for me too.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it interesting. The dynamic is that the teachers are Gossip Girl.
Yeah.
And I think if the reveal
are the teachers
later,
very annoying? Yeah.
Okay, here's what I think is interesting. I think they should have. I feel like it's because the teachers are so young.
Because it's
like not creepy enough.
So I was watching interviews, and I really like the interviews that Gossip Girl does because the TV show creators and executive producers are also getting interviewed. Okay. So, which I feel like not enough TV shows do.
HBO Max period.
Yeah. So, especially because all of them were in the OG Gossip Girl, so they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Like, people are acting like this is just coming out of left field. Like, no, these are the original people that did original Gossip Girl. Yeah. They're just making it into the new thing. And the whole thing with the teachers is like, it's kind of like what they're setting it up as. It's like Gen Z versus millennials and how they deal with like drama and like conflict and stuff like that. So the teachers are like millennials, and then
I like
students are Gen Z. I don't think many people got that.
I kind of wish the teachers were a little bit older so that there's a bigger gap between like, it's like these young people and then these older people. Like, why are they doing this? Because I do think at some points you're like, well, they're young, so it doesn't feel as creepy, even though it's disgusting and like weird.
Yeah.
I wish they made them a little bit older.
Yeah, I wish at least some of them were. They're all like the same age, you know. There's a range of teacher ages, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I did like that they brought, I didn't know this, but like the one girl that was like, oh, I was here during that time. Apparently she was like actually like for a split second. And I love that it's such a minor character.
Yeah.
I like that way more than if they had brought back like a big character.
Mm-hmm.
But that's as someone who never saw the show, so I don't know, but I thought that was really fun. I like the dynamic between the two sisters. I think that's really cool.
But I don't know. I think my whole thing with Gossip Girl is like people are way too quick to like shit on things, and I bet you by like episode 6, people are gonna be like, "This is so good."
Oh, it already got renewed. It's literally fine. Gossip Girl is fine. I don't know.
Everyone just hates too quickly.
I don't think there was that much to hate about it. Exactly. It was pretty much what I expected.
Yeah, I'm like, guys, what are we?
I see people like, there's certain things I'm like, you're just pulling things out of nowhere now to hate on it for no reason.
It's just because I think on TikTok people just want to have like a hot take because hot takes are what like get you the likes for like 2 seconds, which like I guess, but like also y'all first 1 episode.
I don't know. We'll keep discussing it as the show continues.
Yeah. This is gonna be my lifeline for the summer.
Okay. Another thing
in Love Island. This is what's getting me through it.
Okay.
I really do feel re-energized though. Like genuinely, like I haven't really like liked watching anything.
It literally brought you back to life.
It literally, yes, I'm revitalized genuinely because these are like 2 of my favorite things on this planet. Go Piss Girl and reality TV dating shows.
Okay. I don't really. I wrote down Loki finale, but I actually don't want to talk about it that much because it's still fresh. So we'll talk about it at some other point. But Black Widow. So we both saw it already. I loved it.
I loved it.
I think it's my favorite Marvel movie.
Oh.
And I know people are gonna be like, but I don't want to hear it. Go tell it to your mom. It's my favorite Marvel movie. And I know. Because I saw this girl, though, I think you sent me the TikTok. That one girlie that always talked about Marvel things. I don't know her name. But she was saying that like she felt like it was hollow because it was not as much about setting up. It was more about setting up Yelena's character than about Black Widow herself.
I don't
know if I agree with that because like if the movie...
It was both though. It was like
it had to be like, both.
Yeah.
Because if it didn't set up Yelena's character, then there was literally no purpose to the movie. Because yes, we should have gotten it earlier, whatever. It's too late now. Like this is what we have.
We're still mad at Marvel for that though.
Yeah, it had to establish a continuation for the MCU. Like this is the first MCU movie we've had in how long? So like it had to show us where it was going. I think it did that pretty well.
Yeah.
It filled in a lot of gaps, which I think did.
So what I liked about it is it felt, because like I feel like sometimes, especially when we've had all the build up to Endgame, it was kind of like emotionally draining, and we kind of like lost the original charm of like the original like Iron Man and Captain America, where it's like it was action, but there was also a lot of comedy into it. This movie felt like one of the original.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I was like laughing a lot, which I feel like doesn't really happen in like the newer Marvel movies. I feel like it's a lot more serious and like dark.
That's actually like something I was, because I think if you look at the OG like Marvel movies, like pre Guardians of the Galaxy, I think they have a different feel than post Guardians of the Galaxy. They're all completely different, and so that's what I was expecting from the movie. And then when it started, like the cinematography was different, the effects were different, the opening sequence.
A woman director.
Yeah.
The effects of a woman
director.
The
opening sequence was wild and so dark, and like, because I honestly thought they weren't going to talk about like the like darker aspects of the Black Widow and the Red Room or whatever. And then not only did they talk about it, but they went full force. They were like, Bill Clinton is part of it. Like, I was like, that's wild. Yeah. They took some bold choices. I think it worked perfectly. It was honestly everything I wanted out of a Black Widow movie.
It's just kind of sad that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the whole movie, you're like, oh, but she's dead.
I kind of forgot about it until the end credit scene.
Really?
I low-key like forgot that she didn't die. That's all I could think about,
because I was like, well, we won't see this. Because the thing I'm talking about is the helicopter guy.
It did not help Hawkeye's case at all. Let me tell you something.
No, I didn't. I was like, woo! Okay, obviously spoiler alert, but like the end credit scene is like Yelena talking to this girlie from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's like, she's like setting up like an evil Avengers team. I love that.
Like anti-Avengers.
Yeah. Oh my god. But then she was like, oh, you have to go like kill Hawkeye, and everyone gasped. But I was like, woo! go do it, because I truly like I never liked his character. I don't even think the show will make me like him, because all these
I think the show is to set up Haley Steinfeld's character.
And then someone on TikTok was like, we're gonna see Haley Steinfeld and Florence Pugh together, and I was like, I didn't even consider that. Oh my god, that's so fun. That's such a good way to get people to watch the Hawkeye show. Yeah, because I don't know how else they're gonna get people to watch it. But I don't know, I loved the Black Widow movie. I think I was just in shock of how good
honestly, like were. If it's Marvel, people are gonna watch it, which is why they're ending like the long-term contracts, because
they're like if
they can literally just throw anything.
Especially out. With what Loki did, because spoiler alert for Loki, whatever. I'm just gonna go into it. They like set up the multiverse, which now means they literally can just replace the actor and be like, oh, it's a different timeline version, and nobody will bat an eye. Yeah. So that's kind of a power move for Marvel, but it's also terrifying. Like, I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know. I like it. I love Black Widow. So the scenes were like some of the best action scenes. The scene where they're falling out of the sky. Yeah. My jaw dropped.
It really. I think that's why I liked it so much, because it had the same charm as like an original Marvel movie, like such the original Avengers. Like, you know.
Yeah. It did feel more like the Iron Man, Captain America, instead of like Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain Marvel. It didn't feel like those movies. It felt like the OG ones, which makes sense because she's an original member of them.
So like killed it on that
front.
They
did so good. They
really did so good. And I think it's really important if like to go at least pay for it on Disney Plus or like watch it, because we need to see more female directors.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's Marvel like at the top of the box office. Like
Well, yeah.
So, but still, and I don't know. I go watch it. Obviously, if you're
listening,
it's
really good.
It's so good.
I wasn't like super excited to watch it, to be honest.
Me either, because I didn't really care about.
That's the thing. Like, I didn't really love Black Widow that much. So like when in Endgame, when it came to like Hawkeye and Black Widow, I was like, nah. Like, like sorry. Like I was just like whatever. But now I'm like, I have emotional attachment to
love
Natasha.
Her so much, yeah.
So
it gave her. Oh my god, when she slammed her nose on the table, I was like,
yeah. That I literally jumped on my seat.
And the way oh my god! And when all the Black Widows like came in to fight her, I was like,
it was so cool. I really liked it. Like if you're like on the fence about seeing it, I would say go see it because it's really good actually. And yeah, it's really bittersweet. I feel like that's what I was talking to Darby. I was like, what did you think about it? And she's like, it's like bittersweet because like we're not going to see anything else after.
The thing is, I feel like we will though.
But I feel like also with Yelena, because like she loved her so much, like it's going to be a part of Yelena's like storyline. And I feel like there has to be like something.
I think we're getting something more because they like, and I don't want to turn this into a whole Star Wars thing when they were like, who's Rey's parents, blah, blah. But when they like, so they like bring up the fact that the guy knew who Black Widow's or whatever her name, Natasha's mom was, that she was buried under a pink blossom tree. And then in the end credit scene, when we see Natasha's grave, we see the pink blossom tree. And I was like, I feel like there's a little bit more there that we're going to see. I don't know if we're going to get it through Yelena, or if, I don't know, the multiverse is open now. So literally they could bring her back at any moment.
Yeah.
And I truly think that she likes the character enough to come back.
Yeah.
If we got like I don't know. I think we'll see Scarlett Johansson one.
Well, because it's not like Chris Evans and like Robert Downey Jr. They're like actually done. They're like kind of like
no, but they're doing one more with Steve Rogers, but it's not a Captain America movie.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I think we'll see Natasha one more time.
Yeah.
Maybe in some kind of weird way, but I don't know. I think we'll see it one more time. So ad break, and then we'll be back with our guests and queer themes in horror.
We're back from our ad break, and now we have our lovely guest, Alyssa, with us. Hi, Alyssa.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm tired. How about you?
It's been such a chaotic morning. How about you, Kim?
I had a great morning. Very chill.
Yeah, it was a fun morning. But very chaotic.
Yeah.
So, Alyssa, before we get into our topic, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what kind of interests you in film and television, and why you wanted to go into this specific industry?
Okay. So I originally got into film and television because I started college as a psychology major, and a lot of the classes that I was in, like the abnormal psych class, I'm like, God, this would make such a good spooky movie. Like, wow, like I can't like this. It's a bad mental illness, yes, but in the right aspect, it would be really crazy, you know? So the entire time I'm thinking like, wow, like this true story could make a really cool like documentary, like scary documentary. And it's really dark, I know. And then I kind of, off of that, my roommate was just like, why are you in psych then if you think like you could just make a movie out of the things you're hearing? I'm like, you know what? You're right. Why don't I just make a movie thing? And I had no idea what I was doing. I went in fresh. I was like, I don't even know how to work a camera, whatever, you know?
I still don't know how to work a camera.
And I think that the push of just like, I like movies so much, and I'm always like, when I'm going on rides at Disneyland or when I'm watching a horror movie or a comedy or something, I'm sitting there like, man, I wonder how they do it. Like with a horror movie, I'm like, oh, the makeup looks so cool. I wonder how they do it. Or like Disneyland, I'm looking up and being like, wow, this like art is so cool. Like I was stopped on the Pinocchio ride and all the lights turned on and I was just looking around like, damn, this is a lot of work and it's so cool. And so I was like, you know what? I like it so much. Just do it, you know? And now I'm doing it and it's fun.
Yeah, I think sometimes like, because I know so many people that like were in that position where like they were studying something completely different that they weren't super like they didn't not like it, but they weren't super passionate about it. And then like being exposed to other people who like are going into film or whatever, I think it also helps like take that chance, because you're like, well, I wouldn't be alone doing this.
Yeah.
So that's fun. I just think it's scary. Like it's obviously everyone that's doing this is going to be scared because you don't know if it's going to work, but I think it's like worth it, because like the other option is not trying and then never knowing if you would have been able to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
So, yeah, my little inspirational speech. I hope
good.
everyone enjoyed that. So today's topic is queer things in horror. What a fun way to start our season. So okay, so we were talking about this a little bit before we started recording, but before we start getting into the movies that we're going to talk about, I wanted to like ask you guys, and then if you want to answer, and then just kind of say what I think about why horror is a genre that really appeals to queer people in the LGBTQ plus community. And I don't know. I think
you said you were going to ask and then you started answering.
Well, because I was going to say what I said when we talked before,
okay.
And then like continue, because like just so that you could expand on what I said before and they know.
Well, I have like a historical
viewpoint
of it. I feel like you guys have like emotional attachment type of things. But when I was like researching, Well, I think it's really interesting because people will be like, oh, it's really important when queer characters are canon. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? What does canon mean? Like, I didn't know what it means.
I knew because of Tumblr.
Yeah. I think I like heard of it, but I never, it's like one of those words, like slang type of words that you're like, okay, wait, I kind of have an idea, but like I need to look into it more. Yeah. And so queer canon is like specifically, it is blatant that a character is like, I am gay, I am bi, or they do something where it's like, I'm dating a girl and they are a girl, or, you know, whatever. So it's like blatant, but queer coding, which is pretty much, it's pretty much everything, especially things that we're talking about today. Queer coding, it started because the Hays Code, history is so stupid, nobody cares. Yeah. But the Hays Code was like a very prevalent thing when movies started being made, and one of the things was something about like sexual, like, I don't know what the word was, like kinks or something like that. And at the time, being gay or anything queer was not, it was in that. It was like, oh, it's like a weird fetish type of thing. Yeah. That's like not okay to be shown. So that was where queerness was categorized. So in movies, they weren't allowed to have gay characters, but they would have queer coded gay characters. And this would look like men that are like stereotypically like quote unquote sissy. I hate using that word, but like they just weren't like the typical macho men that were like the leading characters. They were kind of more like not like what's it called?
They were considered, because like the
more feminine type of thing.
Yeah, the stereotype of what gay men were at the time.
I think in the video it was like you wouldn't want them in your fight. Like they were the ones that would always like run away and like not.
Yeah, they were just there to add. They would use them as the butt of many jokes. Yeah, and essentially like cannon fodder for the killer or whatever is going on in that horror movie. Yeah.
They like never really had a female counterpart, or when they were with the female counterpart, it wouldn't be like a romantic type of thing, which I feel like was very popular, especially in like the 1950s and 40s and stuff. Was like if you see a male and female on character and camera together, there's like a romantic connection going on. Whereas they would be like with a queer coded character, it would be like more like a funny, like jokey type of thing, kind of like a Joker type of thing, like the comedic relief character. I feel like is a good way to put it.
So for example, like how you were saying queer coded and queer canon. So an example of each of these. So queer coded, for example, would be Anthony Perkins' character in Psycho, Norman Bates, who was. It's never explicitly said in the movie or any of the sequels, I think, that he is gay or bi or whatever. But Anthony Perkins came out in an interview and said that he played him as if he was. Mm-hmm. And then an example of queer canon would be, and I have to use recent examples because all of the recent like horror movies do have queer characters now, would be like these like Netflix movies that are coming out like literally right now. The last one came out like today, I think. They're called Fear Street, and the main character throughout the trilogy is in love with a woman. Like it's a lesbian relationship at the heart of the story. Which is really cool to see. But yeah, it's like it just happened this week. Like we're barely getting something like that. But yeah, it's explicitly said in the film that they are together, as opposed to like theorizing, which is not the same thing. It does not count, guys. But yeah, so do we want to get into? Oh wait,
no,
Alyssa, go ahead.
Like the emotional, not like the
the scientific, historical.
What was the question?
Why do you think horror is such a genre that appears that, oh my god, I had this much coffee. That's why I'm literally on like 100 right now. Why do you think horror is a genre that appeals to the queer and LGBTQ plus community?
Well, it kind of comes to my mind as like a lot of horror movies, like people are being chased and like killed, and you're trying to be like the last girl or the last guy or something. I think that relates to a lot of queer people because like you're constantly being chased and you want to be that one that like makes it out, you know? But other than that like dark aspect of murder, I think there's also just the point of like you said before we filmed, that a lot of like comedies or romances or something, it's all catering towards straight people and white people. And so I think queer people more like lean towards horror, because anything can happen and anybody can be the main character, and like there's not really, what am I trying to say? There's not really like a set thing. Like I guess back when every lady that was murdered was like a straight white woman, but the further you get into horror, the more you're like anybody can be, it's dark.
Yeah.
Anybody could be the person that like makes it out at the end. That's the one that doesn't get murdered. So instead of watching like a romance and being like, oh, I can never have that, or that's not going to happen for me, or something like that, like a lot of my friends will watch some cheesy Christmas romance movie and be like, oh, I don't see myself in that. But then that Kristen Stewart movie came out and we're like, oh, finally. Like, it's like not the best, but it still is something, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's why a lot of people lean more towards horror, because anybody can be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like how I was talking about before we started recording, I've always thought that like the villains or the quote unquote antagonist of the story is a lot of times more developed and complex than the characters that are being killed off, because like they know that you're not going to see them for more than like 30 minutes, so they're just there to be killed off in like creative ways. But a lot of times the villain is like we see Freddy Krueger in like 10 movies, we see Michael Myers in like so many movies, and so that's the character that everyone is like relating to. And a lot of times I think the queer community holds onto these characters because they're like outcasts from society. They're just different. They're something new that we haven't seen before, and so they're more compelling, I think. And so it's just, I don't know, there's like a lot of layers here. And I also think that like the whole concept of like final girls is like to have a woman be the one that survives all of this like terror and horrifying things happening is something that like I don't know, queer people love girl bosses.
Yeah.
And so like I think
honestly that's probably why I went into film in the first place, because I've seen so many movies where it's like, what is it, what was the trope? It was like the final girl, but then like the girl that has sex with everybody dies first, and then the couple that has sex dies. Like, I want to kind of remake horror to be like, no, the person that sleeps around is not the one that dies first, because everybody thinks that they're dirty and deserve to die first. Like, that's why I kind of want to remake it. Like, not like remake it, but like, I don't know, try to make something that's not the stereotypical, like, you know, the girl's crying in the corner while the boyfriend's being murdered, and you're like, no, please stop, you know? But what was I talking about? I can't remember.
No, yeah, I think, I don't know, there's just so many, because I guess if you ask every single queer person, they're going to say something completely different.
Like, going off what you said, it's just like every genre of like film has roots in like white patriarchal ideals. So I think I think especially like what you want to do, and like what a lot of new directors and new people in horror are doing, is kind of reclaiming that purity culture and like these really weird like rules that are like pushed upon us and are starting to update with how society is more.
But I also think, and like this to lead us into the first one we're going to talk about, like you were saying, like the more modern horror movies that are coming out, they are for more people. They're not just made by like
they're the white male
gaze. And one of the biggest examples of that is Psycho. And I guess it still is one of my favorite movies, because I saw when I was like probably way too young to be seeing this movie, but I saw when I was young, and I just really liked it. And then I really got into Alfred Hitchcock. But then I think it was 2 years ago, this this documentary on Netflix came out, and it was called oh my god, what was it called? The Trans People in Media documentary. Disclosure. And there's one part in the documentary when they're talking about like trans representation in horror movies, and they were talking about like how when they were younger they saw Psycho and movies like Silence of the Lambs and Sleepaway Camp, and they were like, they portrayed trans people as like villains and murderers and something that people should be afraid of. So yeah, let's talk about Psycho first. So Psycho came out in 1960. It was directed by Alfred Hitchcock, and it was starring Anthony Perkins, who at the time he wasn't out, but apparently a lot of like the Hollywood, like I guess they knew he was like not straight.
Well, like how like Hollywood by Ryan Murphy,
Yeah.
like the storyline where it's like, oh, there's a lot of gay people in Hollywood, they're just not like out, and they have like beards,
Yeah.
He was like kind of like that.
Yeah, and so I think we did talk about it in our Trailblazers of Hollywood episode.
Did.
But yeah, so I was reading an article by Obscure Magazine, and they were saying that like Alfred Hitchcock most likely casted Anthony Perkins because of this. Take that as you will. I don't know.
I think it's interesting, especially when you're thinking about like old Hollywood type of movies, because like again with like the Hays Code and stuff, you couldn't overtly be like, I'm casting him because I want this character to be gay. Yeah. You kind of just had to like be a little sneaky about it.
Yeah. Well, Psycho itself is so wild because like it's the first time that a toilet is ever flushed in a movie. Like visually, it's the first time you ever see I think a man and a woman together in bed, and she's like sitting because like I guess women couldn't be sitting. So all these weird rules that like they broke with this movie. And then the shower scene, there's like documentaries on that like 30-second scene. So the whole movie itself I think is really groundbreaking, but So Anthony Perkins plays Norman Bates, and he's like this little guy. he's a little guy, and he's running this motel by the side of the road. And it's like a hotel, and then he lives like right next to the hotel.
God, isn't the scariest part of the Universal Studio Tour when he's like chasing the fucking studio car? I remember the first time I went on it, because I'm still a scaredy cat, just like not as much as I used to be, but I remember the first time I ever came to California in like 2010 or something, and we went to Universal Studios, and I literally started crying. I started crying because I got so scared that he was like running, because I was at the end of the tram too, so like that's when he gets really close, and I started crying. I was like, I had really bad anxiety. Like I still have bad anxiety, but like I was like, I couldn't control my anxiety attacks because I didn't know what they were before. So I would just be like blubbering, making a scene, like
it is scary. Yeah. No, your eyes tearing up right now.
I like had that memory unlocked.
It is scary. But that's just goes to show like it's during full daytime. He's just a little man, and like it's a tram, but it's still scary because
the music too.
Yeah. Oh, that music, iconic. But spoiler alert for a movie that's been out for like 50 years, but like he in the movie, there's like he's always talking about his mom. He's like, oh, my mom this, my mom that, she's like mean to me, and sometimes you hear her. And then the twist is that he has like a split personality, I guess, and he killed his mom, and he convinced himself that he was his mom, and so that's why he was killing people. And there's like a whole, as the movies go on, I think they explore why this happened a little bit more, and also in Bates Motel.
I was about to say, Bates Motel is such a great
I love how they
to back up a little bit more
the
theories, I guess.
And I also think I like how they did things. It's because I'm like, do I want to get attacked for saying this? But I think be a little bit better, because I think they give reasons for certain things that when you watch the original movie, they just happen. And it could be a little, because it's
also
not
Alfred Hitchcock is like very much a director. Like it's a little bit more artsy, like to the imagination. Where for I think as Bates Motel, because it was a TV series, it was able to explore themes deeper.
Yeah.
Be a little bit more edgy.
And also male horror directors, like in the past, the way they treated women,
especially Alfred Hitchcock
and like Stanley Kubrick. Poor little Shelley Duvall. Yeah. She did not. The Shining did her so dirty.
Isn't Jamie Lee Curtis's mom the?
Yes. Oh yeah. Fun fact.
I'm so sorry to that woman. She's literally an iconic person.
Yeah. Oh my god. I don't remember her name. It starts with a J, or is that her character's name? Okay. Well, Jamie Lee Curtis's mom is the character Janet Leigh. Yeah. She dies at the beginning of Psycho, which was also, I guess, like a huge plot twist because she was like a big star, and they were marketing her as the star of the movie.
Well, like before I watched the movie, I thought the whole thing was about this lady. I thought it was about this lady and how she's like. I thought the movie was about her, and she's literally in the poster and stuff. I thought she was like getting stalked by this guy.
Right.
So that's what I thought it was. And then when I watched it and she was in there for like literally 30 seconds, I was like, what?
I wish it hadn't gotten spoiled for me because I already knew that happened. So I like wasn't so, but I wish I had gone into it not knowing.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let me read this little quote I wrote. I kind of already mentioned this, but in the same article by Obscure Magazine, Perkins himself came forward to state that Bates was played as intentionally gay or bisexual. And so what they kind of do is they blame his murderous tendencies on the fact that he is in the closet, the character in the closet and like holding back from his sexuality, which like is the reason that they're saying that he like split or whatever, which by the way, horrible representation of queer characters, horrible representation of mental illness, like it's just a mess from start to finish. But yes, it is an iconic movie. And I just think, I don't know, I used to love this movie, and then the more I learn about it, the more I like look into it, it just kind of makes me sad that like such an iconic movie is so, I don't know. It just kind of makes me sad.
Like problematic?
I don't know if problematic is the word, because like back then it was just like, it's just a plot to a movie, you know? And like no one would like see it as the lens that we're looking at it through today, if that makes sense.
And we'll never know what actually is happening. A lot of this stuff is like theorized onto the movie.
And and it's weird because like the character of Norman Bates was based off of Ed Gein, which has like nothing, the real life like serial killer, which is like very different. It's complete, like I think the only thing that they like took is that he like wears skin as. Oh,
that would be a really good episode to talk about, like based on true stories. Oh yeah, because like sometimes they'd be really taking the bare minimum, like just the concept, and then people think that's like reality.
They're like, there was a serial killer once based on a true story. I don't know. Just talking about Psycho makes me sad because I used to be obsessed with it, but then like seeing.
I mean, it's still a good movie and it's still really important in regards to like the big picture of like film. But I feel like that's a lot of movies that came out in this time. Like what we always say, it's like you can appreciate it for what the positives it gave, but you still have to acknowledge like the bad parts of it, and that's okay. Those two realities exist.
I mean, I don't remember which celebrity said it, but one of the celebrities that I follow was like, you can like it as long as you like understand that like it's not right for our time, you know? It was okay for their time, but like you can like things and know that it's not the like the best thing anymore, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if I said that
early 2000s comedy.
Yeah. But I think because these are in chronological order, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think as we go on, things get better. Things do get better.
It switches up in the in Jennifer's body.
Yeah. So. But before that, I'm not gonna trash this movie because people love this movie for some reason. But I watched it last night. So Nightmare on Elm Street 2: Freddy's Revenge was released in 1985. I appreciate Freddy Krueger as a character, but I've never been into the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and I don't know why. They're like my mom's favorite like horror.
Is this the franchise. One that Johnny Depp is in, or is he?
No, he's in the first one.
He's in the first one.
He's in the first one.
Yeah, I think that's what like shot his career up.
Yeah,
it's the crop top.
Yeah.
I
knew you were gonna mention it. I was like, there's no way we're getting through this without the crop top being mentioned.
Thank you for mentioning that.
So good. More men need to be doing that, especially summertime. Like, guys, it's like golden opportunity.
In Sabrina, in the Sabrina show, there's like a scene with Ross
Lynch. I know.
Okay,
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's pretty wonderful.
Great.
Okay. Anyway, so Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. I had never seen this before. I watched it last night. It's on HBO Max. We love you, HBO Max. And I will be honest, I did have to stop multiple times because it was just really like hard to get into.
Bad?
It's just old. You know, it's those movies that are just old.
It's very 80s.
It's so 80s. It's so the shorts are so high. And but okay, so a lot of people consider this the gayest slasher film ever made. And I was like, let's see. I didn't want to look up why. And I was like, let me see if I see the gayness popping out, and yes, it is popping out. So the main character of the movie, his name is, let me look it up real quick because I forgot. Yeah, the main character's name is Jesse. He was played by Mark Patton. And he's not in the first movie. This is, again, like completely new cast other than Robert Englund, who plays Freddy Krueger. And him and his family move into the house from the first movie. And slowly but surely, he realizes that Freddy Krueger is trying to like take his body to like come back to Earth. Because like Freddy Krueger is like a demon, and so he's like trying to possess him and become him. Okay, so does that make sense?
Yeah,
we got that established. It gets weirder. And so
I can feel the gayness already.
Yeah. And it is, oh my god, the dialogue. He like, okay, so there's one scene where Jesse like, so he, okay, we're gonna introduce the other minor character. So I think his friend's name is Lisa, who like, it's like they wanted you to think that she was gonna be a love interest, but it is so clear that he's like not interested. And then they give him like a BFF who's like the jock. I don't know. It's because they have the pictures of them old. Yeah. I'm like, I don't remember. I don't know.
Really Ron, no?
You're on the BuzzFeed article, right? I think they. I don't know. But they somebody on one of the articles I read was like they casted his best friend as like one of the hottest guys, and that was supposed to be his like bestie.
yeah. And it's like, it's so like, I don't know how to explain. Like there's, okay, well, so whatever, they're like BFFs, they hate each other at first, but then like the
enemies to lovers,
like never said, but like yes, like low key. And so first of all, a third of this movie takes place in the boys' locker room. I'm not kidding. A third of this movie takes place in the boys' locker room. They're like always in there for no reason, and they're always barely wearing clothes through the entire movie. And I was like, what is going on? How is this? And also for the way that this is the second movie, like it's not even like this has like 8th movie we're running out of ideas energy, but it's movie number 2. Like I don't know how this happened. And so oh my god, it has a 41% on Rotten Tomatoes. That is wild.
That's pretty high.
Yeah.
Considering.
But it starts getting gayer as it goes on. So they have a gym teacher, right? And he's in it a lot. He's like the mean gym teacher. He hits them, which he literally.
I don't think that's allowed.
It probably was in the 80s.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah.
And so there's this one scene where like Jesse, so because like Freddy Krueger's like trying to possess him, he like sometimes like blacks out, doesn't know what's going on, and like Freddy's using his body to like kill people. Like he possesses him and kills them through his body, if that makes sense. And then there's this one scene where Jesse shows up at this gay bar, and it's like a leather like I don't know. It's like the gym teacher's there, and he's wearing a leather vest and like a hat, and Jesse's there for some reason. I looked away for 2 seconds. I don't know how he ended up there. And the gym teacher's like, "Oh, like you're in trouble," and then he like brings him to the school for some reason, and then Jesse's there, and he's like in the shower. They're in the shower again. The showers is a good portion of the movie at multiple times, and then the gym teacher gets murdered in like. I'm not even kidding. How it starts is that like a bunch of different sports balls start like being poltergeisted at him.
No.
Like he's literally being pelted by sports balls and like all kinds. And then he gets like his like these ropes because like I don't know, it's like magical or whatever. These like jump ropes get like tied around his wrists, and he gets like strung up against like the shower wall. And then like Freddy Krueger rips off all his clothes, and like like a towel like floats and like bangs him, and then he just dies. No, like I was watching this and I was like, what is going on? And also Jesse's just there like in the shower, just like watching the whole thing.
He's just sitting.
I mean, there's not much he could do.
Possesses him. Wait, what? I thought Freddy possesses him, and that's why he worked.
Well. After, so like at first, like when all these like things that are happening right now that I just said, that's all like floating. The towel is floating, the jump ropes are floating, the balls are floating. And so Jesse's like watching it at first, and then like the steam like fills the room, and then Freddy Krueger is like there instead of Jesse, and then he kills the gym teacher, and then Jesse's like, oh my god, I killed him, but it was like Freddy Krueger. I don't know. Anyway, as the movie goes on, he like starts becoming more and more BFFs with that one guy from his like
enemies to lovers
yeah.
trope.
And there's one scene where he's like, okay, so Jesse's sorry, I'm trying to point out all the gayness in this. So then Jesse's like having sexual interactions with the girl that like he doesn't seem to be that into.
Yeah.
And then he like teleports to his friend's house and he's like on top of him and he's like, I need your help. And he's like, oh, like he's
like on top of him.
Yeah, it's so weird. And he's like, they're both shirtless or something. And then like he's like, something's trying to get inside of me. And then the friend is like, and you're trying to get in bed with me or something like that. And like all the dialogue is like very like low key gay.
Yeah.
And then but he kills him.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
He kills his bestie.
Yeah, he kills his little bestie. Sorry guys, no call me by your name this time.
Yeah.
And then whatever, the movie goes on, and then at the end the girl is the one that like saves him. She like kisses Freddy Krueger and it's like true love's kiss, but I don't know.
What
it's so weird. And then like they're having this like party at the end, and I'm not even kidding. There's like a thing of hot dogs that like it starts exploding, and like beer cans that like start opening, and like everything's very phallic. Every single thing throughout the movie. It's so weird. I've never seen a movie like that in my life. I was just like, what?
Wasn't there that I read it? There was like that one thing where there was a scene with melting candles that were very phallic.
Yeah, there's melting candles and like Freddy Krueger is like also melting. It's very weird. But oh my god, we forgot to mention. So we brought this up earlier before we were filming. But so like when they first meet, Freddy Krueger like they're like in the hallway of the original house, and Freddy Krueger with his little hand glove with the knives, he like goes there. He's like telling him that like he wants to possess him, whatever, and he gets the like knife finger and like grazes it over his face or whatever. It's like low-key sexual,
very intimate.
And then in the BuzzFeed article it says that the actor wanted to put the blade inside the actor's mouth, and the one of the PAs or something was like, that is not happening. You're absolutely not going to do that because that's gross and weird. And he was also, I believe, underage.
Insanely sexual when you think about it. Like, sure, there could be innuendos while he's like stroking his face with a blade, but the second the blade goes into the mouth, you're like,
that's something else.
Okay.
Also, considering the fact that Freddy Krueger, the lore behind the character is that he is a pedophile that like a bunch of parents hunted down and burnt alive. So like it's so weird. And I don't know, but a lot of people love this movie. I guess because of like its boldness for the time.
Boldness. That's a good word to say.
Oh my god,
it's super bold.
I wrote the parakeet scene. Okay, there's this one scene where they have a parakeet, I guess, and it starts like attacking them, but it's not scary because it's a parakeet. It's like this big. And it like explodes, and it's like supposed to be super scary, but I'm like, I'm not afraid of that thing.
It's like this big.
And it's like flying at them, and they're like trying to hit it with the broom, and then it just explodes, and I'm like, hello?
It's so weird.
Don't know. But there's a whole documentary about this because the actor like essentially like his career was ruined because it's called Scream, Queen. Fun play on words.
Dude, we love a play on words. We live for a play on words.
And it's about like his experience making the movie and like the aftermath of it because people did notice.
I feel like I heard about that.
Yeah, they caught on. They caught on to the gayness, guys. And essentially his career.
Did he know? Or was he just like like you can't be saying those words and
everyone like when it was first coming out, like in the BuzzFeed article it said that like everyone was denying it, but then like later on everyone was like, no, we knew. Like the screenwriter like themselves was like, yeah, we it was like on purpose. Which is so I don't understand. Like I guess that we'd have to watch the documentary to be more, but I couldn't find it anywhere.
Well, I guess
genuinely, like I think the bottom line for this one is like, if you enjoy this as a member of the queer community, sure. Okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Maybe they didn't. Wasn't the AIDS epidemic in the 80s?
But it's not. I truly.
But maybe that's why they like didn't say anything about it. Like it's not gay, and then later they're like, no, it was gay because they wanted to get the movie made.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know,
because it does seem
a lot of movies in that time were like they had like gay characters, but they couldn't be like extra. They couldn't.
And
be,
it's like low-key
gay.
implied that Jesse is like not straight, but they never say it. But it's like kind of like it's like okay, you know how the Babadook like it like represents her grief.
Okay, we're gonna get to the
No, but it's something to do with
Okay.
this. In this movie, it seems like what they were trying to do is Freddy Krueger represents his like fear of coming out,
Yeah,
but I don't think it lands very well, in my opinion. I don't think it comes off
probably
as
not.
that.
No.
Um,
Well, a lot of cult movies like it's just like super outlandish and
Yeah.
like bold, as we'll say.
they become cult movies because of the audacity of
Oh,
what
yeah.
they did.
Rocky Horror Picture
Yeah.
Show.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I mean that's interesting.
I don't
It's on
know.
HBO Max.
I think it's worth a watch if you're into like 80s horror movies because it's just wild. The only thing I can promise you is that it's a wild ride.
Yeah.
And it's low-key gay, so I don't know.
I don't even think it's a low key gay.
I think it's like
no, it's like, and it's like as it goes on, you're like, oh my god. It's just sad that Jesse and Bill or whatever the guy's name
I
was.
know.
It's like, that's so
They couldn't
sad.
have had the happy ending.
No,
Yeah.
I don't even
That's
remember
so
how it
unfortunate.
ends. Oh my god, I don't remember how it ends. British Krueger escapes or whatever. Anyway, Silence of the Lambs came out in 1991. I don't know where to start on this one.
It's a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, because the first time I watched it, I think for me, when I first watched it, I wasn't really paying attention to I was paying attention more to Clarice.
Yeah.
But then the second time, especially because I think the second time I watched it was in my film theory class. And then we had discussion questions about Buffalo Bill and stuff and how the relationship between Clarice and me forgetting
Hannibal Lecter.
Their relationship, and I was just like, wow, I kind of forgot the Buffalo Bill thing happened.
Yeah, because
it's really, because it's at the end of the movie, and there's just so much building up to it, and once they make the break in the case, they're like, no, this connects to Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
And then they just and then the parallels between them going to the house and then Hannibal Lecter, I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
What is happening? Where did Buffalo Bill was only introduced at the end?
What happened to the original plot?
Yeah, we know exactly. I was like, where? What? Huh?
Yeah. They definitely could have added some stuff in between to be this is the murderer.
Yeah, I feel
final 10 minutes they're like, oh, here he is.
Because the only other time we see Buffalo Bill, right, is that one scene where the girl is in the pit. This is a little bit earlier on. The girl is in the pit, and then Buffalo Bill's trying on
movie.
Women's clothes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's towards the beginning of the movie, and then that was really random, and then you're like,
huh?
Okay, weird, and that's the only things you see is this girl trapped in a fucking hole, and this
and the dog
man running around just being kind of quote unquote erratic, and you're just like, okay, what does this have to do with Hannibal Lecter and Clarice? What the is going on?
I mean, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
My first time watching it, my sisters have always been into scary movies and true crime. So at the ages where I shouldn't have been watching scary things or true crime things, they had me watch Silence of the Lambs. And the entire time I was like, okay, so Hannibal Lecter is the bad guy. He's the murderer. And then, no, he's just him. He's just there.
Yeah, it's weird because it's more about it's the relationship between him and Clarice. And you're trying to figure out oh, why is he obsessed with her so much? The mental game. Yeah, and then the Buffalo Bill storyline sneaks up on you because you forgot that's what the
and then it just fucking hits the ground running, and you're like, what? Anyways, the problem with Buffalo Bill's character is trans misrepresentation, because they're showing Buffalo Bill kind of cross-dressing, and it's just, again, in Disclosure, just portraying trans people as mentally unwell and erratic and harmful to humanity.
So, something to be afraid of is what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel especially we're talking about the placement, and we're just this is just so weird. Why did they feel the need to add that element, the cross-dressing element, and the sexuality of Buffalo Bill into it, when I don't even think, because Buffalo Bill was a real murderer, right?
It's also, I think he's also based on Ed Gein. a lot of old characters are based on Ed Gein, or maybe Hannibal Lecter's based on Ed Gein.
I think Hannibal Lecter.
Ed Gein, his impact, not in a good way, but like his impact. But I think, yeah, like because a lot of themes in Silence of the Lambs are about like gender roles and like how, because the main character of the movie is a female character, and
she's like not being taken seriously as a detective.
Yeah, and the only one who sort of like gives her the time of day is a serial killer, a cannibal. And so I think, I don't know, I think that element of it might be why a lot of people still sort of hold it as a classic, I think. Because if honestly, like,
it's just like hard because it is a classic and it is a really good movie, but it has this big mess of Buffalo Bill's character, and it's just like, why did you feel the need to represent the trans community in this way? I mean, especially in this time.
The way I kind of see it, because I just thought about it, is like there's so many ways they could have gone with him being a serial killer. Like, he could have been taking skin to make a skin suit to make himself a girlfriend or something. Like, there could have been so many other reasons why he murders them. But I feel like they just threw in the fact that he was like cross-dressing just to be like, ooh, look, he's bad and this is bad and what he's doing is bad, you know? Like, there's so many other ways they could have gone, and they decided, like, no, we're going to put him in there as a cross-dresser so people are afraid of them, you know?
I think it was also, like, an element of shock value and, like, taboo elements that they wanted to, like, put in to kind of, like, jolt the audience a little bit. Because they, I guess, like, at that time, they weren't used to seeing that kind of thing on film. But it's just because that isn't a huge part of the movie that's famous. So I think a lot of time when new audiences are watching the movie, they're like Hannibal Lecter,
when
and
you
then
talk about the movie, you don't. No one really
talks about it.
Mentions
They're like,
at all.
We don't know what you're talking about.
We're like, what?
They're like, who's that?
Yeah. It's weird.
I feel like it was just like shock factor. That's it.
Which is so bad that you're using trans people as a target like that. That is so not good. What are you talking about with the Clears?
There was a Hannibal TV show. There was a Hannibal TV show. It was like a prequel to Silence of the Lambs. But then recently CBS came out with I think it's a sequel, so it takes place after Silence of the Lambs, and Hannibal Lecter isn't in it because like everyone owns different things in this universe. So like they were like, Clarice will be in it, but no one else will. And so Clarice, it's exploring her more as a character, which I think is really cool because she's a super interesting character. However, I haven't seen the show yet, but I did see that when it was coming out, they were aware of the issues with Silence of the Lambs, and so I believe there's a trans character in the Clears TV show, because they're trying to
reclaim the wrong.
They're trying to like redo what went wrong with Silence of the Lambs, and they're trying to like, I guess it's sort of an apology to the trans community. I do think watch Disclosure to see actual trans people's thoughts on this.
Yeah, because they're way more qualified, and their opinion is what actually matters.
Yeah, because like I think literally what Kim said. But yeah, I just think it's interesting how like a lot of reboots, sequels, remakes, they take what's wrong. Like,
I feel like that's a good way to combat it, though. Like, if there was like something that was really highly regarded at the time, or still is, but still has this bad part associated to it, I think, especially because people love reboots and stuff like that. And if we're gonna keep on doing that, like maybe pick the ones that had some shit things and like maybe rewrite it, because I mean, like I don't know if we talked about it last episode, but we talked about this before on the podcast, like Little Women like being readapted, like in Star is Born being readapted like every 10 or so years, like because there's different things from the story that you can like take. And, like that's why like I used to hate reboots. I used to be a hater, but now I'm like, no, I like it. Like unless if it's done well, it can be done well and it could be useful, but of course sometimes it's just gonna be cash grabs and stuff like that. But there are people out there that want to do meaningful things and want to like rewrite wrongs, because the way our society is today and how it's going to end up, and like the way it's rapidly changing now, like there's so many things that we can like rewrite in a good way and like make negatives positives, I guess. A positive way to look at it, because I feel like sometimes like it's easy to like get stuck in like the negative headspace and be like, this sucks and boo.
Yeah.
You know?
But, like, Silence of the Lambs and Psycho are great movies. Me skipping Nightmare. Psycho and Silence of the Lambs are great movies. But I think, yeah, like, I hope that, because these movies are shown in, like, film classes, film theory classes, queer theory classes. So I really hope that the time is being taken to show, like, our newer generations of, like, filmmakers, like, this is the issue with them.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, they're great movies. Look at how they shot this. But also, like a Buffalo Bill, guys.
Yeah, that's so bad.
Yeah, so I don't know, but we're getting to the better ones.
Yeah, return of the century.
Yeah.
The 2000s, baby. The new millennium.
Jennifer's Body, released in 2009, starring Megan Fox. Everyone loves this movie now. Yeah.
Okay, so the issue is
it's because there's so many issues.
There's so many issues. So basically, the root of the problem is, like, and this is not Megan Fox's fault at all. No. It's studio's fault for sexualizing the fuck out of this woman and just only taking account in her. And, like, she even said herself, like, because her and Diablo Cody, who made Jennifer's Body, they, like, had a talk about it kind of recently, to be honest. And Jennifer was like, honestly, like. Jennifer, oh my God. She is a part of Jennifer, though. Megan was like, it kind of was like a parallel to how my life actually was, especially, I think she said, like, the scene where they're sacrificing her, she was like, honestly, it felt like how studios were treating me at the time. Like, they're literally just using me for my body, and, like, that's all I was able to, like, give them. So, like, that's kind of like how Megan Fox was treated. And honestly, until now, has been treated by people. And Diablo Cody, her intention was not to, because she's like a feminist writer. Yeah. Her intention was not to make it the sex fantasy that the marketing made it. But I think Diablo Cody said in the interview, she said, I just got this email one day from the studio and they said, this is how we're going to market the movie. And she was like, well, I don't think that's what the film is about. And then basically whoever was responding to her, I'm assuming the studio, was basically like, well, we're just marketing like this because Megan Fox hot. Yeah. Like,
send email.
They like, it's so awful that, like, and then, like, that's why it got ripped to shreds and so many people hated it when it first came out, because it was marketed to the people who it's not about. It was marketed to the people that they're being critiqued, and of course people don't like being critiqued at like that, especially frat boys and men who sexualize women so much. They don't, obviously that's why it, like, tanked at first, but I think once like, I think recently, to be honest, as it got put on, like, stream platforms and, you know, social media, people can have, like, conversations about things. People are like, Jennifer's Body is actually, like, a feminist horror movie. Yeah. And everyone's like, yeah, it is. Let's talk about it. Yeah. And, like, it's kind of, I think someone was like, it's not like it's a Renaissance period. Like, we're reclaiming the narrative.
And, like, Megan Fox herself has said, like, I saw something on TikTok, I don't know what interview it was from, but she was like, I will spend the rest of my life looking for something, like, that I love as much as Jennifer's Body. She's like, every project I try to do now is trying to, like, have that feeling again of that she had when making that movie. And I think it's so interesting, our little marketing brains, like, rolling right now, because it
was ahead of its time, this movie.
And I wonder if it had been, well, I wonder two things. Number one, if they had let Diablo Cody fully have control of it. Like, we need the Cody cut of Jennifer's Body. And I wonder
I think the cut that's out is great as it is. I think just the way it was marketed at the time was the problem.
But she wrote it too, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder if, like, they had her take things out. Well, they probably did. Yeah. But I wonder, like, her original
like a
version,
Snyder cut, but okay, I get what you're saying.
I wonder what it would have been like. And also, like, if they had marketed it towards the correct audiences, if it would have.
If they didn't put her in, like, a schoolgirl outfit.
I still don't think it would have done well, just because, like, when you think about 2009, like, I feel like that's like the peak time where everybody is just criticizing every single female celebrity.
That's true, yeah.
So I still don't think it would have landed. I feel like if this movie came out today, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It would be a crazy success, especially when you, like, because I feel like all the new fans are very much Gen Z.
But I'm glad that it came, like, the 2000s vibe of the movie is kind of what makes it iconic.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know what it is, and it makes me so mad because I love these type of movies. Like, I want the quality of, like, 2000 films, but I want it to be released now.
I don't know what it is. Yeah.
I'm like, what cameras did they use? What kind of shitty, like, standard HD, like, cameras so I can, like, replicate that? Because I miss that feeling of, like, that aesthetic of film. Like, why don't we do that? Because it popped off for a very long time. Like,
early 2000s movies, like, they're amazing. I mean, there's problematic parts in it, but they're all pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like, yeah, so, like, Jennifer's Body, the queer elements of it. So I think I don't know. Okay, so, like, I know that a lot of people, the way it was marketed was like, Megan Fox kisses a girl in this movie, guys. Like, that was literally promoted.
Yeah, but that scene held so much more meaning than what they marketed it as.
Exactly.
Especially the placement in the movie, because it happened right after Needy had sex for the first time.
Yeah.
And right after Jennifer ate the emo guy. Right?
Yeah,
I think that's when it happened. And so it was just like kind of all their tension from their friendship and Jennifer kind of being like hurt in a way that Needy had sex with a guy and stuff, because I think, well, obviously they had like very much romantic tension between them and like sexual tension. So like I think it just like kind of like watching it back now, it's like, damn, like there's so much meaning to this like scene, but like because of the way it's marketed and how people have kind of tainted it, is just like written off as like two girls making out, how hot, when it's like, no, there was like deeper meaning to it, and it's kind of like a really big part of the movie symbolically as well.
The relationship between Needy and Jennifer is like so like complex, especially for its time. Like, it's they were friends, but then they were like, oh, what's going on? And then they were like, they kind of wanted to hate each other, but that hate came from different places. And so I don't know, it's just, and the ending is also sad because like
well, Jennifer was really protective over Needy. I feel like that's where it came from, and because she had so much love for her, but it was just like misdirected. But also not her fault that she got sacrificed in the beginning of the movie and turned into a demon woman. Like it just also came out the wrong way.
Like, I saw so many gay themes throughout the movie. Not like themes, but like so many gay things and themes throughout the movie that like I guess led up to that kiss. But like I saw, what am I trying to say? Like the amount of closeness that they had. And every boy, like it said in one of the articles, every boy that Jennifer killed was somebody that like was into Needy and everything. And so I kind of saw that as like she was jealous that all these guys liked her and she wanted her. So she was just offing each one just so she could get a little bit closer. But yeah, that I think, how do I say this without kind of sounding like a dick? I've watched Jennifer's Body with other gay people, and I've watched Jennifer's Body with other straight people. Like, I've watched it with both sides of the spectrum, and who was it? One of the guys that watched it with me was like, oh, the best part of the movie was when they both kiss each other, right?
Oh my God.
And I was just sitting there like, oh my God. And then I watched it.
Yes, but for the wrong reason that
you're like, yes, why? Yes, why?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just sitting there like, do you not understand? And they're like, it's just really hot. And I'm like, hit. And then I watch it with like other gay people, and they're like, wow, the meanings, it's like so deep. And like, it's beautiful. Like, it's a beautiful movie. Like, it's made so well.
And the like, ending, when she rips off the best friend necklace, I was like,
I was watching it and I was like, oh, how did they do that? Holy shit, they made everything spin.
I also saw something that was like, that for like a lot of these movies, the reason that they're considered like they have queer themes is because they're so dramatic. And like the queer people love drama. They love the drama. And it's like petty like high school drama sometimes, even though there's like so many more elements to it. And I think I forgot what I was gonna say. Like completely. Wait, you were saying, hold on, the people that you're watching it with. Oh, that I think the like straight people can't relate to this storyline because it's about two people that want to be with each other, but like they think they can't because of like society or whatever. And it's never outright said, right? Like it's like you really have to look into it to get that. But if you aren't looking for that and you don't have that experience, you're not gonna like relate to the situation that these characters are in, and you're just gonna be like, oh, two girls kiss.
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely had to have framing when I watched it to like, because I could gather that there was like queerness, but like the first time I ever watched it, I was just like, also like I'm just not a big horror person, so I was just like already like a little like detached. But when it kind of went through this Renaissance period, and like I was reading a lot of things and hearing a lot of people talk about how much it meant to them, I was like, okay, like I'm gonna watch it again with like this framing of it, and it makes the movie so much better.
Yeah, it really does.
It makes the movie so much better when you have that framing. So like I could only imagine what it was like at that time when you're like going to see this movie, and like maybe you're like a closeted like queer woman, and then like you're watching this and you're surrounded by men that are only getting like the sexual thing, but I feel like that's a very special thing to have. And like Megan Fox was a lot of women's like bi and queer awakening, or like lesbian awakening, you know, like she's a very important person to the queer community.
Oh my, you know what just happened on the way here when I was driving? So I was listening, I had the radio on because, again, chaotic morning, didn't have time to connect my Bluetooth or anything. So I just had the radio on, whatever channel, I don't know what it was. And they were talking about Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox. And so Machine Gun Kelly was saying how he like had a poster, like the Transformers poster of Megan Fox in his room, like when he was younger or something. And there was two radio hosts talking. It was like a girl and a guy. And the girl was like, honestly, that's like a little creepy. Like, I find that a little creepy. And the guy's like, why is that creepy? He got so defensive. And she's like, well, like, imagine if like a guy told you that he had a poster of you in his room and now he's dating you. She's like, I would be seeing this. It was like, it's like he's seeing you as like a prize or an object. He's like, no, it's Megan Fox. Everyone thinks Megan Fox is hot. And I was like, oh my God. I just remembered it right now when we were talking about that. But I'm glad that Megan Fox is like, she's becoming more like she's getting what she deserves, I think.
Yeah, she's getting her flowers that she deserves, I feel like.
Jennifer loved this movie. Any last thoughts on Jennifer's body?
I would say read something in Style or something. Just did like a piece about Megan Fox, especially when it comes to like her bisexuality. I read through it. It's really good. And like hearing her like reflect on like her projects and how she's been like perceived by the world is just like very interesting. And I feel like because all of the people kind of associated with that project were queer people or like people that resonated with her, it's a very special interview. So I would recommend
Megan Fox, come to the podcast.
I'd be so intimidated if Megan.
No, I would be so scared.
She seems really nice in her interviews, but I'm just like, your essence.
You know what I just remember? Completely off topic. When I went to the iHeartRadio Awards like 2 months ago or whatever, or a month ago, she like randomly showed up with Machine Gun Kelly, and I was so shocked that she looks like how she looks. Like, I don't know. I was like, oh my God, she actually looks like that.
She's that beautiful.
Yeah, and also Machine Gun Kelly's huge. Like, he's so tall.
Really?
And I'm big.
Yeah.
So
the fact that you're saying that is like,
he's scarily big.
Wow.
He's like huge. Okay, anyway. So okay, this one is so interesting to me because this is so weird how this one happened because it's so different from these other scenarios. So
it was an accident at first.
Yeah, so the Babadook came out in 2014. I thought it was A24 and it's not. I literally thought it was A24. And so essentially this movie is about this single mom. She like has this kid and she's like really struggling. Did the husband die? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Did the husband die? Is that like
I think she's a widow.
Yeah, there's some kind of grief going on.
Yeah.
And the little kid has this book called The Babadook, and it's like, oh, if you read this book, he's gonna come get you. And then they read the book and he comes to get them. And the first time I saw this movie, I didn't like it, but I was also 15. Not the movie for a 15-year-old to grasp the themes of like grief and like No,
Yeah.
not at all. And then I watched it again, and I was like, oh my god. And I think what really shocked me was the ending, because like, do you
I've
have you
never
seen the
watched
movie?
this movie. Yeah.
Okay, it ends with them like, spoiler alert for the Babadook, if you, because I do think it's still sort of recent, and I think it's worth a watch because the ending like caught me really off guard. And it's like they sort of like they quote unquote defeat him is what you think, but then it ends with like she's like whatever I think she puts the kid to bed, and then she goes to the basement and they have him there and she like feeds him. And then that's how the movie ends. And so at first I was like, wait, what? But then when you think about what the Babadook represents, it's like he's like a physical manifestation of grief, right? And so like grief never leaves. You just have to figure out how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
yeah,
what a good movie. However, I did not see like queer themes in this movie at all.
Well, how it happened.
Yeah.
So basically, Netflix accidentally put the Babadook in a category that said LGBTQ plus films.
I mean, there's that like one kids cartoon thing where all the cartoons are killing each other, and they put it under cartoons, like kids.
Yeah. The Happy
Tree Friends.
Happy Tree Friends.
Yeah.
Happy Tree Friends.
Yeah, and it was in like the kids section, so I don't know if they actually.
Yeah, I don't think they monitor everything that they put on there. But anyways, that like somebody like tweeted about it, and they're like, gay, like queer icon, Babadook, and then people are like, wait. Actually, there was one guy, I don't know this man, but he has credit in many articles. Sorry to this man. But he was like, he rewatched it and he was like, there are some queer things here.
Really? Okay.
I still don't really get it.
I don't get it. I still think it's mostly about grief. I guess if you go into the movie with you're like, I'm gonna look for gay, and like I guess some things could be interpreted that way.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think that was the intention of it.
I mean, one of the tweets that I read was like, you think he's not gay, he's so dramatic, and he made a book for himself. Like that's people are like, that's one of his icons. Like he's
and
just
like his outfit.
Yeah. Just over the top dramatic.
Yeah.
It's just a funny like pop culture thing.
Okay, and I saw this in what article was it? The Vox article. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's not okay. So it started as a meme, which then led to genuine interpretations of the film through a queer lens. And the article compared this to Harambe, which was the you guys know who Harambe are. I'm not about to explain who Harambe is.
You don't have to.
I was like the gorilla that got.
If you know who
Harambe
know,
is.
just Google it.
You missed the moment, but and they compared it to that, and I was like, that's so interesting. And the quote that was in the article.
Yeah, the Vox article is like a trip.
Yeah. They said the Babadook's queerness could be both a satirical take on cinema's ongoing failure of representation and a sardonic response to the media and social media's hot take economy. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I was like, big brain, big brain.
Yeah, whoever wrote that, wow.
Yeah,
I was
they
like,
deserve a raise for that quote.
Yeah, I was like, the Vox,
and then it makes you think. Like, I remember reading that and I was like,
It was just wild because I was like, that is really interesting how like social media and especially like the LGBTQ plus community will take things and like reclaim them through a queer lens, like the Babadook. Like which
is iconic.
Because oh my god, I got an ad for this thing in LA right now. It's called like I don't know, but it's like a horror themed, like you know those Instagram things where it's like you go to take pictures. Okay, it's something like that, but it's on queer horror. So they have an exhibit on Sleepaway Camp and
fun.
Yeah, and one other thing, and then
horror gets a lot of cool like little exhibits and stuff.
But they had like a whole like thing about the Babadook in there, and I was like, that's so cool that like that movie, because it was huge for like a little bit because like in the horror community, and then it kind of like disappeared, and I think the queer community was like, let's bring it back. Mm-hmm. And I honestly think that's you
will literally see the Babadook at Pride, like almost every single Pride you go to.
With Pennywise though.
Yeah. Even though Pennywise is very homophobic. Do we not remember that, guys? But yeah, I don't know. The Babadook is an ally. Freddy and it are not. But the Babadook is an ally. I don't know. I just think it's really funny and honestly like a little bit heartwarming in a very twisted way.
Yeah, it like started off as a funny joke, but they like spun it into like a really like heartwarming thing, and now it's like a fun like kind of like inside joke. Like
it is like an inside joke.
Definitely an inside joke because I was very much on the outside. I still am definitely on the outside, still trying to grasp what the fuck is going on. But I just don't want to watch the movie because I don't like horror movies. It's so scary.
No, he's barely
easily.
in it. Genuinely, he's barely in it, and it's more about like the mom and the kid. I think you'd like it. It has like Hereditary vibes.
Okay.
So yeah. I think you should watch it.
I don't know if I'm in the headspace to like think about grief.
Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah.
Maybe once I.
Oh wait.
Yeah, I'll wait.
I watch it during the daytime.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Watch it during the daytime for sure. I can only watch horror movies in the daytime.
Really?
Like I tried to watch Hereditary with my mom, and I was like, I'm sorry, I gotta go, because my mom loves horror movies. Yeah. Like she'll just watch them like casually all the time. Yeah, I know.
Me watching Me watching Nightmare on Elm Street 2 at night, and I was like folding laundry.
No, can't do it. That's my mom will like be penning like Disney emoji blitz on her phone, just like casually watching.
God.
Like, and I'll walk in, like someone's getting like horrifically murdered on the screen. I'm like,
they're like,
I gotta go.
Mom watching Dateline. She's like on Candy Crush, and they're like the girl was found in the dirt.
Her arms are cut off, her legs are cut off.
Moms are so interesting. Oh god. Okay. Anyway, last thought on the Babadook. I think we covered.
Yeah, we got it.
What it is. Okay, the Neon Demon I haven't seen.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at first, to be honest.
Is it just like because it's like about modeling, or what made it gay?
I recently watched it because I saw it on the list and I was like, you know what? Might as well. It was like, it started off kind of normal, and then by the end, like I had watched it in like the middle of the afternoon, so I was like doing things, I'm like house sitting, I'm like petting a dog, and by the end of it I was just sitting by myself on the couch like, what's going on? Like, what is happening?
It's a trip. It's like, that's why it's so hard to like, honestly, I was just like, and also you know how like psychological like horrors or like psychological thrillers, I think that's what I said, like those are such a gamble because you don't know if it's actually going to be scary or not.
Yeah.
This one's a little, I don't know if it's scary, but it's definitely more on like the psychological like turmoil. Yeah. Like you're like, you're just like,
I've jumped at horror movies before, and this one, it wasn't like scary to me. It was more like, what the fuck? Like, what am I watching? Like, I don't want to.
It's like a different type of fucked up.
Right.
Yeah, and like they don't explain a lot. They they just keep going. Like I don't want to spoil anything, but there's like a mountain lion in a room, and then you're just like, oh, what? Why?
So like
why?
David Lynch vibes.
Ooh, yeah, I would say David Lynch vibes. A little bit more glamorous.
Yeah, a lot of
like gay David Lynch.
Pretty lighting.
Ooh, gay David Lynch. That's a good one. What do you think like the queer themes of this movie were?
I mean, they did make the main like lesbian. I don't want to say she's a lesbian, but they made the lesbian like the bad guy. Like she hit on the main girl, was turned down, and then did some
kind of like Black Swan energy. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like competition, but also like, are they about to kiss? But also like
sexual tension, but also want to kill each other.
Oh,
like, yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so like Killing Eve.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. I would say like Killing Eve mixed with like Black Swan type of like a little bit darker on the Black Swan end, because it's kind of like, I don't even know. It's such a I think that's why people didn't really like the movie, because I don't think people like movies where it's like not clear cut.
Also,
like,
you guys trying to explain this without spoiling anything is so funny.
Yeah.
There's just so much that happens. Like I don't even know I can explain it the way that I don't know. I can just say like snippets and it still doesn't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. Like going from the mountain lion and she's modeling, and then you don't know why was the mountain lion there. I don't know. They don't know. She doesn't know.
I put
Keanu Reeves in it.
Yeah,
Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
It was on every single list I looked at.
Yeah.
This movie, and I was just like, yeah, I could say it's a little,
I would say it's a little like the entire movie is really artsy, and like the lighting's really artsy, and like they kind of made
I love the aesthetic
gay of person in it the like big villain, and then it was just chaos in like an hour and a half, 2 hour movie or whatever it was, like just utter chaos.
Gays do love the colored lighting.
Yes.
That is one thing that we know. It's that.
Yeah, it's a good aesthetic. I would say watch it. I would say watch it with people, so you could like
watch
be like, what the fuck?
Watch it like once, you know, maybe.
Yeah.
It's not a rewatch movie.
I would say maybe it's not like an eating movie too. You know, I don't know if you agree with me. It's not like an eating movie.
No. Especially when it's about the modeling industry. It's not like a glamorous look at the modeling industry. So
yeah. Like I started eating and you just have to no, can't do it.
That's
so ominous. It's so ominous. But like I feel like it's one of those movies that you should go in like not really knowing much about it.
Fun.
Yeah. The only thing you know right now is Mountain Lion.
Yeah, literally.
It's in the trailer too.
And Keanu Reeves, I did not know he was in that movie.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Shocking on that one too, because I was like, Keanu.
Yeah, I did not know.
He pops up in the randomest places.
Yeah.
Hey King. Raw came out in 2017. This movie was it French or Italian? I literally don't remember.
French.
We talked about this during our was it Final Girls episode? We've talked about this before, but not through this lens. This movie is about sexuality, and that is not something that happens a lot in horror. Like it actually at all in like movies, honestly. If we're like this kind of take on sexuality is not something that we see very often, especially comparing sexuality to like cannibalism. Very unique take. And so I think maybe that's why it became like so loved by the queer community, because like obviously sexuality is something that a lot of people struggle with, and to see it in this sort of manner where it's like, I don't know, I think maybe that's why, because it's
very artistic.
Yeah,
I'd say.
And also the way it plays with sexuality is very like loose. Like there's never like I think the one male character, he like is like, I like everything. Mm-hmm. And then he's like the love interest for the girl, but you also see him with guys sometimes. And then like she is like sort of into it when she sees him with the guy. So like it's very like, is it French?
I think so. It's like a very explorative.
Yeah.
It seems yes, it's French.
Yeah. The French people do.
I feel like only French people can make movies like this, to be honest.
Yeah. Agreed.
I don't know. I love this movie.
I feel like you talked a lot about it.
I don't have too much to say about this in terms of this lens, but yeah, I don't know. It's about sexuality.
I think it was on like our sex positivity episode or something like that.
There's no way we talk. Did we really talk about this during the sex positivity?
Pretty sure you did.
It was last season.
I'm pretty sure you did.
Or maybe it was good for her.
No, it was
not. Us struggling to remember when we talked about this.
I'm pretty sure you said.
I don't know.
Let me look at our letterbox. Didn't you put on?
Yeah, it's on the letterbox. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else to add to the Raw, Alyssa?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't seen it, but I've seen like trailers for it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I personally, without having any other knowledge besides it's French, I thought it was just about a girl that was a cannibal and like she tried it. She like tried somebody's finger or something and was like, "Ooh, tastes good," and then was a cannibal. So now that I'm hearing that it has like gay themes, I'm like, maybe I should watch it.
It's just like exploring sexuality. Like it's all like allegories. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like allegories. Like since she like bit someone's finger, she's like, "Ooh, I kind of like."
No, it's her sister's finger, because the sister's finger gets chopped off on accident, or kind of on purpose. And then she like eats it, and she's like, "Wait, guys."
So I'm hearing that it's a girl that tried another girl and then realized maybe I like girls. Is that what I'm hearing?
It's never explicitly said what she's into, other than eating people. But I think that's part of the queer themes of it. It's like, does she like girls? Does she like guys? I don't know, but she likes eating people.
Yeah, it's not canon.
Yeah, it's not
maybe
queer
she's
canon.
Like into everybody because she eats human.
That is, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Her understanding it more and hasn't even seen it.
It helps that I'm bi. It makes everything better.
That is a good way of
it's our good for her episode.
It. Good for her?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Also, the way we put, really quickly, we put Midsummer in a good for her, and everyone on TikTok is being like, Midsummer's not good for her.
Okay, but everybody thought that at first, okay?
Yeah, and we all thought, and we're recanting what we said.
I mean, we recanted it before.
We might have.
I wasn't in the episode, but can I say something on Midsummer?
Yeah, please.
Okay, here's my take. Is like, sure, don't join a cult, but also, like, if your boyfriend's a piece of shit, I like good for her on that aspect, but like
it arguably still is a good for her film though.
Right. but like she was manipulated.
And we were manipulated too because we thought she was safe. And
I was like ready to join. I was like, hey guys, let me come.
You know those like things online where it's like, no, I don't think I'd ever be in a cult. Like they can't get me. They can't brainwash me. And like all of us were brainwashed by Midsummer. Like everybody was like, oh, that's amazing. Kill the boy.
That's actually really, that adds, I think, a lot to the movie. And then, so as we were talking, I kept remembering things because like horror is like just like fully like queer now. Whereas a lot of these were like speculative or like just twisted versions of horror. I mean, of queer themes. These, the last ones I want to talk about are like fully, they're like gay. They're gay. So the first one's American Horror Story. This is like not even arguable. Like we know this is a very gay show since it like started. Although I think it's interesting because I did see something on like Twitter. I saw some people talking about it and they were like, American Horror Story loves its queer trauma. And
so true.
I was like, okay, interesting, but the gays still love it. Like Coven, there's oh my god, wait, Angela Bassett and Emma Roberts are gonna be on an episode of oh my god, what's the drag show? Drag Race. Because they're doing like a Coven themed episode or something. And so they're like guest judges. Like that just shows how American Horror Story is like really gay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's like not much else to say about that. It was just gay.
I agree.
I mean, isn't it in the stories or whatever, Kaya Gerber's character is in a woman relationship or something? I don't really know anything about
it. I think it's like Asylum or something where she has a girlfriend.
Well, if we go through the seasons really quickly, Murder House, there is like gay ghosts in the house that they were there, and then and also like the like suit, that like rubber suit, the leather that has like gay themes to it. Season 2 Asylum, it's like they explore like conversion therapy and like how damaging it was, how scary it was, and Sarah Paulson's character, who was like the star of that season, was in love with a woman, but then spoiler alert, the girl gets killed. So then it's like, you're like, whoa, who won there? No one. Season 3 Coven, I don't remember there being any explicit queer characters, but I think just the campiness of the season made it.
I think the fact that it's witches, I think witches goes with gay.
No, and no, we won't elaborate. No, we won't explain ourselves. And then season 4 Freak Show, I don't want to get into the sexual themes of that one because it's just weird. Season 5 Hotel. Oh my god, it literally stars Lady Gaga. I don't need to go further into it. Season 6 was Roanoke. That one is pretty straight, honestly. But then there are like queer characters in that one, but it's like a straight season. Season 7 was 1984. I might have skipped one, but
I don't know. I want to say yes, but I'm not positive.
Oh wait, no, because season 10 is the one. Oh, Cult. I forgot Cult.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I remember Cult. All I remember is her screaming and clowns.
That's oh wait, you pulling it up? Okay, wait. 10 is the one that's about to come out. 8 was Apocalypse. Yeah, it was gay. Yeah, it was gay. Cult, not that gay, but sure, could be gay.
Why is season 6 missing?
Roanoke, because people like to ignore it. I don't know why. Google's not even acknowledging season 6. That's so funny.
Everybody that I know that watched season 6 hated it so much, so maybe they just were like, it doesn't exist.
Honestly, it's one of my favorite seasons. No one come for me, but it's one of my favorite seasons. And then season 10 is like Aliens or something. We don't know. It's not out yet. But I don't know. 1984, I think like camp and the 80s are very, again, queer. Anyway, that was American Horror Story, but you guys know that it's not straight. Like, I don't even need to get into it. Fear Street is this like trilogy that's coming out on Netflix. I talked about it a little bit last episode. But at the center of the story is like, how do I say? Like, it's two girls that are in love with each other. Like, that's like the heart of this story. Like, which I think is really fun to see. It's just not something that we've seen before. And also to see like a trilogy that spans like decades and hundreds of years is like such an interesting concept, especially because it's released week after week.
Doesn't it go backwards? Like it goes from the latest date to like the oldest?
Yeah, so the first one was 1989 or something.
I think it's the 80s, yeah.
Yeah. And then the second one was 1978. And then the most recent one that I haven't seen yet is 1666. And it's supposed to like, so the first one is like they're figuring out what's going on. And then the second one is like, oh, where did these certain characters come from? And then the last one is like, how did this all start? How did this curse on this town start? And like at the heart, like this girl, the main character, she's trying to save her girlfriend because she got possessed by the ghost or thing or whatever. I don't know. They're fun. I think what I really like about it is that it seems like it's for teenagers, and it's like I've seen a lot of people calling it like gateway horror. So like to get teenagers into horror, and it's still like brutal, it's still gory, but I think to have two female characters in love with each other and it being sort of a love story,
and also it being on Netflix, like you don't have to like worry about like going to the movie theater and like getting carded or something. Like literally anyone can watch it.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why they put it on Netflix instead of the movie theater, because it needs to reach its intended audience, because it's not for adults, but like adults can still enjoy it.
Yeah.
One question
still, like,
about
yeah.
Does it, so what, going along with our like queer themes, does it make the girlfriends like, is it one of those tropey things where like they have to deal with the fact that they're gay, or do they just deal with the fact that there's death?
Honestly, so the way it starts, the way the show, the first one starts off is like this girl is talking about her ex Sam, and so like I already knew that Sam was clearly going to be a girl, but like the way they show it is like the way they film it is like they want to trick the audience into thinking that Sam is a guy until Sam shows up and you're like, oh, Sam's a girl, which is a little gimmicky, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the reason Sam didn't want to be in the relationship is because she didn't want to come out, is what I guess is implied. It's never explicitly said, but that's dealt with by the end of the first movie. Like she kisses the girl in front of her mom, like it's like, but then the mom is like upset about it. I don't know. That's interesting because I think it does fall a little bit into the trope of that, but
there's a lot of like not just horror but regular movies that you think are like, oh, it's a queer movie, but then it's just like the entire time is just them going through absolute hell. And like I want to see like a romance where you don't really have to deal with a lot. Like sure, there's gonna be some bad things, but there's not gonna be like straight up bullying, you know?
Yeah, I think the thing with horror, like, and it being with the queer community is like, there, because of the genre, there's gonna be pain and suffering, even though you don't want to see these characters like suffer. But I do think Fear Street and The Haunting of Bly Manor, which I want to talk a little bit about next, is like they sort of take the suffering and make it clear that like love was the stronger part of it. They didn't make the characters suffer just out of like, they're like, well, suffer for the audience's enjoyment. It's like they suffered to like save the other person that they were in love with. Okay. Which I think is like, a fun way of looking at it.
Like the way, because like with it, there was that whole scene in the second one, and it was like, what was the reason? Like there wasn't really a reason, because it preyed on kids, and like, what was the reason? Like a lot of horror movies just throw in the murdered gay couple just to be like, oh, there it is, you know?
Yeah,
I think it was just like, oh, we need to sprinkle in a little inclusion. Let's just make these characters.
No, but it's because that's how the book starts.
Oh,
the book starts with the murder of the gay couple. Well, like the guy, I think only one of them dies, but that's literally how the start of the book. Before Georgie, before any of that happens, the book starts with that. Oh. But I don't think it didn't need to. I genuinely don't think it needed to be in this version of it, because it's like you literally start the movie and it's like a hate crime. They're like, welcome to It Part 2. And I was like,
exactly. And like they had just explained all of the movie beforehand that he like prays after kids and like he follows these specific kids.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, there's another people that don't fit in the story. But
and then like they made one of the, I don't remember if the book was like this, but one of the characters, the one that dies, was like gay and in love with his friend the whole time. I was like, this is what we're doing, guys? I don't know. It just felt like a lazy attempt at
well, also the It movie ends with a child orgy, so I don't know if it's
the movie does not end like that. The book.
Yeah, I mean the book. Yeah. Sorry, the book ends like that.
Yeah, Stephen King.
Yeah, anyways, talk about Bly Manor.
The Haunting of Bly Manor. This is the last one I want to talk about, because genuinely, I I was so impressed with this. So the Haunting like anthology series on Netflix is like every season is a different based on a different horror story that is like, so like the first season is based on the book by I forgot her name. She's like one of my favorite authors. Shirley Jackson, I think. And then the second one is based on a short story called The Turn of the Screw, and then they twist it, make it modern, and then make it about relationships. So at each of these seasons was like at the heart of it was like relationships, and then the horror was just surrounding it. But in The Haunting of Bly Manor, it takes place during, I don't remember what time it takes place. I don't know.
I want to say 90s, maybe
90s. Fun time period. And it's about this girl, and she's going to go be a nanny in England. And she's like moving to this huge mansion to be a nanny for these 2 kids. She gets there, and there's like a chef, a maid, and then this gardener. And like the second they meet, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be gay.
Oh my God.
I was not expecting it at all because I don't know.
Oh my God, these bitches gay.
Yeah. And so,
oh my God, I was watching it with my sister.
Yeah.
And the moment you're talking about, I was like, no.
Yeah. I was like, no way. And so then the show goes on and explores their relationship a little bit. It's so sad. It's sad, but it's like heart-wrenching sad. It's not like you're not upset because it's like they did.
Like it makes sense for the plot.
And it was like, so I don't know, to see like that kind of. It's literally like a queer story about 2 women that love each other. Like deep love, like it like transcends death, essentially. My whole family was crying when we were watching it. Like the last episode, like I don't know, it's just incredible. I don't want to say anything else about it because genuinely I think everyone needs to go watch this. It was so well done. It is very slow.
Was it the last season or what season?
No. So it's like American Horror Story. Like each season.
Yeah, but like which season are you talking about? Or
2.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the newest one. I think Netflix has them separated.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they put them as like season 1 and season 2. I think it's like Bly Manor, Hill House.
And like if you know kind of thing. Like if you watch the first, you'll watch the second. Like
yeah, kind of like that. And Victoria, what's her name? Victoria Pedretti? I don't know.
I think Pedretti.
Yeah, that girl. She is incredible, and like I think she is one of the best actresses of all time.
She's gonna go crazy. Like, she's a really good actress.
She's so good.
Isn't she bi in real life or something?
I don't know. Maybe.
She gives me the vibes, but yeah.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. She's so good. She's getting that Netflix paycheck, and as she deserves. Yeah. I love her so much. I loved this scene, and yeah, it did have its issues, but I was just shocked that it gave us a gay love story because it's not a horror story. It's a love story, and they literally like. Okay, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but I just want to say it because I literally was like in tears, and I literally had to rewatch it by myself so I could get all the emotions out because I was like, I'm not gonna cry in front of my family. But like the story, like I guess the narrative, like this tool that they're using to like tell the story is like this woman is telling the story to a group of people, and that's why the story, like we're seeing it because like the woman is telling the story, and then at the end when she finishes telling the story in the last episode, some girl responds and she's like, that wasn't, you said it was a ghost story, and she's like, well, it wasn't. She's like, no, I think it was a love story. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. And it's just so good. I like, even if you don't like horror, I think it's worth a watch. It's not, yeah.
Like it made me jump a few times, but it wasn't like you're watching Conjuring or something. It was yeah.
I don't know. I'm glad we ended on that note because it's one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about that show.
And I think like Hill House got way more like, everyone saw Hill House, but like nobody saw Bly Manor.
Yeah.
Who's first?
Hill House. Because I don't think they should.
I don't think they should have done the season 2. I don't think people are smart enough with Peace and Love to like realize that's the same thing.
Yeah.
To realize it's like an anthology series.
This is an official promo for
everybody go watch it right now.
yeah, truly. It's really cool to see like where we started with like in the 60s with Psycho, where it's like a story created by a male, like a straight white man, Alfred Hitchcock, and like the perspective that he put the speculative character that's, you know, whatever. You can speculate about Norman Bates' sexuality, whatever was going on with him, but like to go all the way to like 2021 or whenever 2020, whenever the show came out, and there's a love story that like is centered around two women.
And it's not being like fetishized. It's like
not
true
at all.
love.
Yeah, I think that was just like, it's such a cool way to see like if you step back, you're like, wow, I'm glad that we got to where we are now.
Yeah.
Fun. I'm glad we ended on a fun note and not like something depressing, because sometimes we'll like accidentally end on like, anyway, the world sucks. But not this time.
Yeah.
Alyssa, thank you so much for
having me
with us. Yeah, where can people find you on like social media or any of your projects?
That's a good question. I have my Instagram. I genuinely think it's Alyssa Rose 19, something like that.
Okay.
I should really know these things. I think my website's linked in my bio of Instagram. That has all of my like previous projects. I'm working on a ton of random shit right now, and it's like a mixture of documentaries and horrors. And the one Kim and I worked on, like I
worked on for like a day,
but I'm still counting it as he worked on it.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so just all that shit is on the website.
And Alyssa's a really talented and producer, and she's super organized and girl boss.
Girl boss. But yeah, and again, that all of that information will be on our Instagram, like at r.hollywood. You'll see the guest spotlight on there, so you guys can all check out Alyssa and check out her work, and learn a little bit more about her.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for listening, and we'll be back next week with
Latinx in film.
Fun.
It's been on our list for so long, but
yeah, I'm glad someone finally picked it. But yeah, thank you for listening, everybody.